Indeed. And greeting unto you, beloved and holy friend. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution, another opportunity for us to take some perfect breaths. At least that's the centering theme that I want to cover for us today. Had some moments thinking about breathing, especially as it relates to this will and want that we as people have to be perfect, to not make mistakes, to take the right steps, follow the right path towards the ideal outcome. But ultimately, the only thing that we are left to do right now and in this moment is breathe. And then there is this question that arises in me, and I covered it a little bit in the yoga as well, is there such a thing as a perfect breath? I think what you would consider your perfect breath would be different to my perfect breath. I think both of us can agree that the perfect breath would probably be a deep and calm one. But the fact that you're breathing at all is what's perfect, right? Instead of getting so caught up in whether or not you are perfect, realize simply being is as close to perfection as you can ever hope to get. If you stop breathing, that would be less than perfect, right? At least that's the way that I am participating in my mind with this idea today. There's a lot of awareness in me that there's a lot of energy in the current world as it is. I think all of us, in one way or another, feel all of these looming problems, right? It's not financial collapse, then robots taking our jobs. Not robots taking our jobs, then potential war, nuclear or biological. If not actual biological warfare, pandemics. If not a pandemic, then personal destitute, losing what you have. There's so much to worry about. I find myself very quickly disillusioned. Right? The problems that we are facing seems to be only as prevalent, only as important as we apply to it. There was a whole moment yesterday with Grandma where she was telling me about all of these horrible things that are happening. All of which I know, all of which I've already been there to also learn about the horrible things that happen. And there were three different instances where she kept echoing these negative sentiments. And every single time we find ourselves in that space, I asked her if what she's sharing with me right now brings her any joy. Does it bring her joy to tell me about people starving? That's one of them. That was one of them. Does it bring you joy, Grandma? No. I'm like, okay. Are you going to do something about it? How can I? Okay. Can I do something about it? No, she says. I'm like, all right. You see how I'm confused as to why it is we're participating in this way right now. And I had to breathe. I had to take some moments just to breathe. Just to be with that conversation. It happened alongside me trying to share a story. I was giving Dad some honor in front of Mom, kind of like thanking him publicly again, out in the open for his generosity. And as I was in the middle of this story, Grandma interrupts us and starts telling us about how some people were given property and they were given a farm, that already had the facilities to produce food. And then, can you believe when the season came to plant food, they asked, who's going to pay me to plant food? Can you believe that? She goes. I'm like, yeah, I can believe that. Anyway, and then I try to tell the rest of my story, and she goes, no, and then she tells me another related story, and I'm like, all right, why are all of your endeavors steeped in gloom? Because it's the gloomy things that need our care. If everything in the garden is sunny, why meddle? I don't think it's a matter of endeavors steeped in gloom. Maybe you're right, Sam. Maybe you're right. I just don't find it to be true, right? This is the kind of message that I shared with Grandma last night as well, is that the only thing that we have control over right now is exactly where we are, right? And I shared with Grandma the hurt that I feel in sharing all of these states of suffering with me when I am actively pursuing a life of increased opportunity away from this place that is actively seeing the opportunities being stripped from it. Right? It doesn't mean I'm not aware of the gloomy endeavors, dear Sam. But if there is nothing to be done, right, in that way, as you said, if there is a possibility for you to apply your care to that gloom in a way where the gloom is going to be reduced, right, then it is worthy. For instance, let's say it makes you gloomy to have sand in your bed, right? And then you wake up and, your partner came back late and they didn't take their shoes off and they just jumped into bed, and then you wake up with sand in your bed. And then you're super gloomy about it because your partner knows that I don't like sand in the bed, all right? Why would they do that? Why would they do that to me? It's starting to rain. And you can be gloomy about that. And you can be like, oh. Or you can address it in that moment, right? You can say something in that state of gloom about the sand in your bed. And then maybe, because it's a relatively small problem, it can be solved. However, when it comes to problems as large as, economic strife of a country, 60% of people my age are unemployed. I don't have, unfortunately, millions of jobs to give. I don't, unfortunately, have the money to employ a single person. Right? And in that way, I get the gloom, but it's also a problem out of our depth. Reality happens. And while you have this upbeat attitude, it comes off as dismissive, which you've been told. I hope that's not how you were with your grandma. Not at all. Mom and Dad actually came up for me in me sharing that. Because you can see how upsetting it is to her, sharing this stuff with me. Right? And that's the conversation she's used to having, Sam. Those are the kind of conversations they have. Actively, all the time. Right? Every single place that she's in, alongside peers, who are also seeing the decline of our country, that's what they talk about. Constantly. They share stories about how bad it is. And again, not wanting to participate isn't the dismissing of that energy. It is a protecting of our peace. It's a protecting of our peace. I will die if I don't keep my upbeat energy. As soon as my attitude goes downbeat, I die. Right? There's nothing in this world that's more worthy of my energy than love. Right? The whole love is true fractal, Sam. The fact that people see that statement as something that's dismissive It really does hurt me to learn. I had a few conversations like that with myself as well today. I go through a lot of imposter syndrome in this space. You seem to be the guy who has a lot of marijuana to lend. At one point I did reflection. Cool name as well. And on the third meeting, that would like burn your skin or something. Wouldn't do that. It's nice to have you here. Reflection. Is this the first time you've been here? I do one of these streams every day. Today we're doing the stream considering the concept of the perfect breath. Realizing that there might be some type of breath perfection in the self. Deep and calm and with big old sighs of relief. Yeah, okay, appreciate it. Bless. Thank you for joining. However, I'd like to argue that the fact that you're breathing is the perfect breath. The fact that you're breathing at all in this moment. And I think there's definitely a part of me that juggles, right, these two ways of being. One way of being, I'm noticing in reality, is this very defined set of success, right? There's a certain way to do things and a certain system to follow. And then if you do those things and you follow those systems, then you are allowed a certain level of authority or respect for your ideas. And if you're just some person, you don't get that same respect necessarily. All right, and in that way, I feel there is a dichotomy between how true an experience feels to the individual and how true that experience is to the society. All right, and that experience of the individual is subject to money, right? The more money you have, the more opportunities are given to you. If not just the opportunity that you get to earn more money, the opportunity to go and study. All right. I would have loved to go and study, but it would have been prohibitively expensive for me to do so. And so I took a different life path. As a result, I won't, according to what I'm noticing as a pattern, deserve, derive, be worthy of the same level of respect as some of the other teachers. However, I don't think there is a single true thing said under the sun, right? As an extreme, that it's all in a way an extension of the illusion. The closest to something true that I could have said with the use of words is love is true. Because it's so simple that the illusion, at least for me, a little bit disappears in the consideration of that statement. The alternative is silence, I've noticed as well. Morning, Darren and Sakiri. It's nice having you here. Yeah. The alternative is silence. Sam? Money can't buy love. Isn't that true, Zoltar? It's true. Can't buy love. Can have all the money in the world and still feel hollow. You can have all the love you can hope for and not have a cent to your name. There's a bunch of termites coming out as it starts to rain. and the Burbies are snatching them out of the air. I don't know if you can see them flying back and forth. Its stylo says, if I were someone else rather than me, I would sit and chit-chat with you. That's an interesting thing to say. You don't have to sit and chit-chat with me, but I am showing up with that intention. There is definitely a lot of stakes in my heart with this space. All right. I started this space during the ARPAN days, and during those days, comments were very frequent. All right. Sometimes there would be so many comments that despite the fact that I was actively trying to read all of them, I just couldn't. I just could not read all the comments. There were just simply too many. And it was important to me to honor those friends who showed up to say something. And then as we continued to create and as COVID went away and people kind of reintegrated back into their lives, the amount of comments that I could expect diminished tenfold. And I had to get good at talking for myself, almost to myself, to the point where I believe it irreversibly started shaping my accent. People ask me where I'm from, despite the fact that I've lived my whole life here. And it's become this deep insecurity of mine almost, that I'm in so many words, not enough, not entertaining enough, not funny enough, not sensitive enough. That's the word today, that I'm not sensitive enough. And that's why I am not worthy of this, that, and the other. I'm unpacking it in the way that my mind experiences it, not unpacking it like that is what I believe is true. Where is the place you are? This is South Africa. South Africa, close to a place called Groblersdal. There'll be mountains in the background. There'll be some trees. There'll be sneeze. It's nice having you here. Amazing, bless. I'm happy to share these moments, friend. That's a part of it as well, right? Is that I thrive and I take great pride in sharing beautiful things with you, friends. And I worry that, not worry even, it's almost like I know, in comparison, that nature is so much more grand than I could ever be. Right? Life as a teacher is so much more intelligent, so much more vast, so much more capable of delivering the message of love than I can ever hope to. I am desperately trying though, like trying really hard. I feel like an advocate for the love of the universe. But I can do so with an intensity. I can do so with a reckless abandoning of certain considerations. You know? Doesn't help me to consider in this moment that there's war happening. Right? I'm not the one pointing the troops in a direction. I'm not the one behind the vehicle's wheel. I'm not the one holding the gun, running into enemy fire. And yet I am. And that version of me that is, seems to be doing it anyway. Right? So I find myself stuck. Right? You can always allow for yourself to notice how powerless it is you are. or you can entertain what it is that's in your power. And aptly, today's stream topic is the perfect breath. Really, the only thing that you can hope to perfect is breathing. It's nice having you here, Kiefer, while you've been sleeping on it. Interesting username. Bless you. Where's Pumbaa? Everywhere. Oh man, a message disappeared. I don't know if it was removed. General knowledge. I heard Mahatma Gandhi from India lived in South Africa. I think he might have for a little bit. Mandela definitely did. South Africa is a beautiful place. Oh. Can I come to visit you to enjoy the view? Change is good, slow. It's true. That's one of the things that I shared as well yesterday, Darren. There was this continuous, again, as I mentioned, echoing of all of the bad things that are happening. And that's almost what I shared as well, is that that the problems we have are so big that solving them is going to take us decades, 50 to 100 years. It'll take us decades to fix all of our problems. And it doesn't mean that we're not supposed to talk about them on the way. But if we're going to talk about them, we should be defining them. And not only defining them, but ideally outlining exactly which kinds of actions we'll take in the pursuit of solving these problems. Because maybe it's a part of my tisms, right, that I don't have the ability to pick up on the social cues of negative information. Maybe some people just want to be heard while they're talking about all of the things that scares them. While I have myself preoccupied with all of the things that I need to do next. Echoing my pattern. The things that I refuse to change. You know what I mean, Darren? Can I come to visit to enjoy the view? I really would appreciate it. There is an open invitation to you friends to come and visit me. Some of you friends have. Some of your friends have visited me. You've seen this space for yourselves. It's not something many people can say. I don't think there's been more than 10,000 people ever through this space. I'd be surprised if it's 10,000 people. Like shocked. I'm leaning more towards 1,000 people. Have been here in this way to see this space the way we are. Humans enjoy novelty. There's a certain obsession we have with it. Be the light that guides others through the darkness. You're still here, it's Stylo. That's nice. You're right. I don't know if you saw, you probably didn't. You weren't here yesterday, were you? But yesterday we did a stream topic where that was our centering theme. I was talking about finding purpose in the light. All right, and that is the purpose that I found as well, is that we are supposed to guide first ourselves and, if we can, others in darkness. Realizing that darkness truly cannot win. That darkness is the absence of light and you are it. Darkness is the absence of what you isn't. Yes. No. Darkness is the absence of what you is. Yes. Grammar. And it is a matter of responsibility, I believe. Responsibility is a word I take very seriously. I take a great deal of responsibility in this space. I understand that you friends are giving me some of your time. You're opening your minds to being influenced, for good or for bad, for profit or for love. I hope you friends know that I've not been trying to profit off of you. It's true, sometimes I am really stoked to tell you about cool toys, but I don't have any affiliate links. I don't have any brand partnerships yet. Please. Of course, I'm joking. Kind of. It is and has always been to me about showing up for love. And sometimes I show up alone. I think the longest I've ever went into a stream of just talking to myself was like 7 minutes. And the only thing that I can almost entertain in my mind at that point is what it is I know. And what it is I know is what I expose myself to. It's good to know more information. It's good to grow that awareness about how other people have thought before you. But it's becoming more and more clear to more and more people that spending a lot of time absorbing information isn't actually the key to happiness. Right? The person that goes out with friends and spends time on the rocks, jumps into the water with them, is going to have a higher quality of life than the person who spends all day studying, becoming the most spiritual scholar on planet Earth. They can be as spiritual and as scholarly as they want to be. They'll still get the fractal of reality that is absorbing information, right? They won't experience it for themselves, how all of that information applies to their lives. You can't do the work while you're learning. At least not well, right? If somebody has to teach me how to bake a cake after I've already started mixing the ingredients, might not turn out to be the most tasty one. But if they show me how to bake a cake, and then I try afterwards for myself, bake the cake for myself, having learned my lessons, that's where the personal experience comes in. You can watch all the videos you want about cake baking. Best thing we can do is go for it. Eat the deliciousness that comes. In case, if you were supposed to want more freedom, would like to conquer it in a playful or in a violent way, in a peaceful way or in a violent way. Ideally in a peaceful way, right? My hope is that I garner enough support and resources to build myself a robot army, and then to take the resources that is the robot army and then put them to work, helping people that are the most disadvantaged, right? Push them through neighborhoods that have nobody that cares for them. Fix their water supply issues, fix their roads, build clinics for healthcare, employ a robot there too, build a distribution network to get the medicines they need. Ideally, build a machine that can synthesize things locally from the internet databases. Right? That's the way that I see myself conquering the world. It's just by taking such good care of people that it's not going to be a conquering of anything. almost going to be like a release, right? Like sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed this, sometimes you give someone a hug and you can feel them tense up. And then at some point, they'll just soften. You can feel their body soften in your arms, right? That's how I'm going to win at the end. I'm going to live for thousands of years, and I'm going to pursue the truth of love relentlessly, very enthusiastically. Zhao has said something. In moments of need, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our training. I think you shared the same thing when me and Dad were talking as well, but I don't think that the second part has been there. Life teaches us, but it's chaotic and slow. Learning from those already skilled, those who've done the trial and error, raises our awareness faster and prepares us for the moments that call for it. Hello, dear friend. I'm 10 years old. I don't think, technically, you're supposed to be watching this live stream. We're not talking about anything inappropriate, of course, but we do talk about things that might be a little bit heady. Today we're talking about the perfect breath. Right? Nobody can teach you what your perfect breath is. That's the way I see it. You have to breathe, and you have to feel, and you have to experience into your breathing pattern what perfect breathing feels like for you. What's most comfortable in your body, what's comfortable in your life. And it does take time. Joe is very right on that. It takes a lot of time. It's slow to learn from life. But I don't know if we're capable of learning a lesson quickly. We can be quick learners as it comes to, I feel, skills, right? The skill of how to use this software, or how to use this piece of machinery, or how to do this certain type of job. I think those skills are very transferable and very easy to learn from another person because there's a method, there's a process that has been defined and agreed upon. However, your life is not the same thing. Your spiritual journey, your breathing, your yoga, your relationship with food, your relationship with other people, your relationship with this environment that you're in, the role you believe you play in it. How willing, how enthusiastic you are about being here. I don't think that can be taught. I don't think a single person has ever been able to teach me how to be happy or how to feel fulfilled or what my purpose is. All of that stuff I had to find for myself, right? I had to take one perfect breath at a time to get there. It's better learning a skill than a robot or an AI. I agree. Thank you, Sam. You clearing the space? I appreciate you keeping it safe here for us. Learning for yourself. It's going to become more and more rare. I think of water quality, food quality, and even air quality. You see, Darren. All of those things contribute, almost like as an energy. And then from that energy, everything else is built. And it's as you said, right? We live in an age where you can be taught about clean water, and you can be taught about good quality food, and you can understand intrinsically, seeing the smog in the air, that you want to breathe fresh air instead. But it's still going to have to be you that has to do that. Tell me how many R's. I think that problem has already been solved, Sam. I think the freaking robots already know there's 3 R's in a strawberry. But that is funny that you say that. I learned math is my favorite lesson. That's good. Math is very valuable. I had a whole moment yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday when I was at church where this 12-year-old kid came running up to me. I mean, running up is a little bit excessive. I was standing between the pews and he was standing inside of the pews. And then he walked through the pew all the way standing next to me. And then he goes, "Hi." And I'm like, "Hello?" And we do this thing where we greet each other, right? Handshakey, shakies. I'm like, "Oh, wait. Hello, man." And I'm like, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Vian." And I go, "Tell me about yourself, Vian." And he goes, "I like math." And I'm like, "Well, that's good, bro. Math is very important. Everything that you see that built around you had math in there somewhere." And I then told him, he then told me about his fascination for electricity and mechanics. And then I told him the story about me and Dad exploring how exactly lightning is formed. And it just felt like this moment of, I guess, hope that there are at least kids out there that enjoy math. Good for you, friend. You got this. Continue studying. I can say that Ryan, our teacher Ryan from the Soul of Yoga, right? I can say that Ryan is the one who brought awareness to the different kinds of breathing. So in that way, I learned different ways to breathe that are appropriate for different situations and when to apply them. When I once assumed was fine way to breathe was actually a breath that increased anxiety. My anecdote, that's true. Were you breathing shallow in that way? I feel as soon as I started practicing yoga, it started technically with me getting more into meditation, but really, as soon as I started practicing yoga, I realized that there is a better way to breathe as it relates to just like using the full range of motion of your body. And it's told, right, you're taught that in Hatha Yoga, your movements, that's one of the lessons that Ryan taught me, right? Your movements are equally, the asanas are equally as important as the breathing. And having that teaching, as Joe said, led me to discover that truth in my own practice, right? The teaching happens in an instance. Breathing is important. You've been taught. These are the ways to breathe. You've been taught. Then the actual application of that information takes years, decades, right? And the only way to do that work is to start. I can keep watching one video to the next, telling me about the importance of breathing. But if I don't actually sit down, if I'm not actually actively minding how shallow or not my breath is, I won't be getting any of the benefits of all of this knowledge. And I think that's the big thing that I'm focused on today. It's like perfect breathing is something that you have to find for yourself. And there are many different ways to find it as well. Right? Like there's a certain breath that you take when you're shocked. Benton J sends a thumbs up. That's nice. Thank you. Bless you too, dear friend. I don't know, man. Sometimes you make me wonder. I think I missed some context. Sam said, "I think the problem has already been solved." I'm jokingly saying some people in this chat are being so weird I can't believe that there are human beings behind those words. But thanks for pointing it out. Yeah. Scary, right, Sam? I think they're probably just children. I'm thinking they're probably just children, which is more concerning. I think it's better for both of us to imagine them as AIs than kids, right? Again, there's so many kids that use their parents' phones, right? And mom has an adult account. I'm pretty sure, I actively, every single time I do a live stream, I say, this stream is not for kids, technically. I'm not making this content for kids. And again, right, I would like to believe, from my own ego perspective, that I would be a good teacher. I literally was an English teacher. So I'd be a good teacher, and I'd encourage and incentivize maybe that exploration, that fascination, like that kid who wanted to talk about math. And I'm like, yeah, bet though. Bet, bro, math is cool. I don't like math. Personally, I really don't like math. And I could have said that. I'm like, no, math is dumb, bro. Cool people don't like math because I'm cool and I don't. So stop all of that math stuff, little homie. But no, I can't teach him. There's not much I can teach him about math. However, I can be the teacher of just encouragement, right? Teaching him that there will be people that support, celebrate his willingness to learn as well, right? There is a lot of learning from other people that's required if you're going to do something like math. And I feel like that's where we're splitting hairs a little bit, right? Because it's simple enough to teach people things when it relates to a topic, right? Something that you can clearly define, you can teach about. However, life as a whole, we had a conversation like that with Dad as well, is mystery. It's completely mysterious where we are right now, why we are right now, where in the infinity we are right now, how many infinities there's been. Is there quantum infinities alongside us here simultaneously, right? And again, that's the mystery, that's the real stuff, that's the life that you're here for. All of the other stuff is almost like what you have to do to get by, what you have to do to be more articulate, what you have to do to be more receivable by another person, what you have to do to earn a higher income because you know a skill, what you have to do to feel a certain way about your own actions. It's like we as a species have forgotten what we're here for. Right? And it felt very stark, that conversation of that as well, where I go, the purpose, ultimately, the first purpose almost in that way, is for you to be here. And then if you're here, if you've almost reached that purpose, then you have to find love in it, right? To continue that purpose. You're here for a reason, I believe. And the only thing that will keep you here is if you love that purpose. What is it you're here for? And I believe that there should be more. There should be more than just this. But I believe this is everything that you could ever ask for. You could ask for things that are in the world. Oh, I would like a new vehicle. I would like a new toy. I'd like a slice of pizza. All of those things are of the world. You already are perfect. I suppose it's better asking him. You're asking my name. My name is MeltMore. It's true, Stylo. I'm MeltMore. It's nice meeting you. Bless you, dear friend. I'm gonna read some comments. I'm getting mildly rained on. I did hide from it. You can see it is coming down there next to me. Threesome. I'm not that bad. I don't know, man. Sometimes you make me wonder. No, it's true. I think they might be children. Kids go back to school. Better imagine. It's holiday for the kids. That's probably why as well. For one damn dinner, you need a whole week. Ego perspective would hypothetically teach kids do not like math. It's true. That's why when he was hyping how much he likes math, I was kind of shocked. And I was like, I need to try and nurture this energy of liking math because we need more people that like math for the future. The robots will probably do math better, but we need people that understand it at least mildly so that they can ask good questions. The year my mom asked me to make the banana pudding, Darren, I feel so proud and so humble that my family trusts me with the dessert. That is wholesome. It's gonna be tonight, right? Are you making the banana pudding right now? I hope it turns out delicious. You are trustworthy, Sam. Sure, you make a delicious banana pudding. He's wiggle cute. His name is MeltMore. It's true. This is his prairie dog imitation. I'm getting more rained on. No, please. Please. It's cold. I'm not cold. You're cold, Rain. I'm just losing heat. Is that a mojo too? Quite the auditory experience in the background. Is that thunder? Yeah. SA Air Force War Games. No, there's a massive intergalactic alien space war happening above the clouds. Have you ever heard that one? Heard that one from some people before, and I'm like, hot take. I'm not exactly sure about that, but hot take. And I think that maybe it might be what you're getting at, right, Mojo? Bless you, bro. I'm just trying to like shimmy away from the water. You can. Oh, damn, run. Rain that way. Oh. Oh, fine, you win. Fine, you win. Look at this thing, it's getting so good. Fine. I'll leave, I promise. I'm promising. I'm promising. No, please. All right, I think I'm gonna go inside. Just need to keep my legs together. Oh, yeah. Oh. Fine, you win, randoms. All right there. Oh. Hallo, ma. Welkom, jullie. Ik weet not also weten, ja. This is grandma. Best gewoon. Grandma says hi too. Guess we're gonna have like a moody perspective. Ja, dat kan, maar ik zal goed doen. Dal, zal ik het, ja. Nog niet, ik is nog bezig. Mom's asking if I'm busy, stir too. Let me get this device. Yeah, moody. So mood. Blur up. Oh, having a mirror. I have done so much face pulling at myself. You ever do that? You just look at yourself in the mirror and you pull a bunch of faces. See how much you can scare yourself. I do that all the time. It's fun. Well, I suppose it's better asking him. Bless. All right. Quite the background auditory. Yeah. Are you making it now? No. I'm making it peanut butter style. You guys with Nutter Butters. So it gets made day of, so none of the ingredients separate and get gross on top. Isn't it Thanksgiving today? It's not Thanksgiving today? I'm learning. I thought it was today. When is Thanksgiving? Nutter Butters instead of vanilla wafers. What is this madness? Sounds delicious. The more you know, Darren. Oh, dude, Nutter Butters and melted peanut butter. This house uses Jif. I did it once because my sister texted me and was like, what if? And I was like, you're asking the stoner? Request granted. And it was the best thing ever made. Does sound nice. Yeah. Them foodstuffs, huh? My hair feels like it's still wet. There's so much moisture in the air. Perfect breath. Thursday. Thanksgiving is Thursday. Okay. Why did I think it was today? Curious. Vanilla plus banana pudding layer, the cookies crumbled, the banana slices, the peanut butter, then whipped cream, and then you repeat it through the pan, crumbling cookies off the top layer. Nice. Okay, I'm really hoping you all have a great day. Thank you. Hoopty hoops. That's nice of you. I appreciate you blessing us with good day vibes. I think it's time for me to show you some flowers and then say some goodbye. Joe helped me choose this one. Focus. Yeah, focus. There we go. My heart eyes. Yeah, Darren likes it too. This one is pretty. Got some hearts in the mirror there. There aren't any emojis of fallopian tubes, but I see them in there. Some fallopian tubes, like these, or these. I feel like you might be meaning these. Technically, the fallopian tubulars and thingies would be folded onto itself in the body, but I think you mean this one, right? Honoring our women and all of your fallopian tubes. I never thought I would say such a sentence, but there you go. Get your fallopian tubes blessed. Stop it. Stop doing that. Alrighty, it's time for me to read you a poem. One more time. There we go. In the light we remember. I keep finding myself in the quiet places where light gathers. Not loud, not demanding, just patient enough to feel like truth. It leans across my chest like a hand that knows me, and I breathe a little deeper as if the world is whispering, "You're part of this too." Purpose doesn't arrive as a trumpet blast. It rises like morning, slow enough that you only notice when your own shadow softens. I remember that love isn't something I invented. It's something I step into, something I agree to carry, even on the days I am tired of my own weight. And somehow showing up becomes a promise I make to the world, a promise to leave things a shade brighter than I found them. The light keeps teaching me that kindness is an action, that patience is a form of strength, that calm isn't the absence of storms, but the choice to breathe through the thunder. And in this willingness to stand open, to let warmth move through me as freely as it came, I feel myself becoming someone who matters. Not because I try, but because I love. Here in the glow that holds all beginnings, I find my purpose. A simple vow to meet the world gently, to offer what I can, and to let the light reveal the rest. I thank you, friends, for taking a few perfect breaths here with me again. I never thought I'd say such a sentence. Yeah, that's part of my whole appeal. And I do love you for it, dear Sam. It is a pleasure having you here. Always. It is 17:01 for me, 71% on my battery. Got some synchronicities to end this off on. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your time and willingness to breathe here with me. Have a beautiful day, dear friends. I'll see you again soon. Tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.